Welcome to another session of Mazungumzo. This is your host, Dr. Gilbert Githere, coming to your homes with Mazungumzo. We are still discussing, serious things like the algorithmic law of value, part 7, but I'm giving you some more details. So I'm discussing Gilbert Simondon and do the machines have existence? But sometime before I go into the subjects, I bring you a piece of music, for you to be able to digest what I'm saying. And here I have an Elvis song, Night Rider. Night Rider, Night Rider, you may think it is a breeze whispering through lonely trees, but it isn't riding across the bay. As the day comes to the end, Night Rider, he came riding into town as the sun was going down. So my baby smiled her heart away. What will I do today? Caution my baby to stay at home, not to leave mama's side. She laughed when I told her, take care, you become a share of his night rider. Night rider, whew, night rider, night rider. I had never had a night rider, night rider. Since you stole her heart away, I had never had a peaceful night. Night rider, please give me back my baby back. Let her come back to me. Night rider, caution my baby to stay at home, not to leave mama's side. She laughed me when I told her, take care, you become a piece of his midnight. That is Elvis Presley. Just for us to be able to digest, the materials that we cover. Some of them are very hard. So I hope you enjoyed that piece. Elvis Presley, Night Rider. Now we go to the details of the program. We reached a place where we were discussing about neuron and brain. These are things we're going to cover in detail. And then we said analogous, 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 from the word analog, to transistor and processor. Things which are equivalent. And they are not, these are not identical things, but they perform analogous individuating functions. Transduction deals with individuation. How an individual develops is the essence of our subject. Likewise, crystal growth, social organization, biologically morphogenesis. These are things that evolve, and they become through individuation. And the process of individuation is a very, very interesting process. And it helps us understand the things we're doing in the art of individuation. I'm just scrolling over and then I'm going to continue. And technological evolution. Analogy reveals common process of becoming. Because we are trying to get tools in transduction, I said before. In transduction, which is actually the theory of understanding how individuation evolves. And it has a better definition, and you have it, you can refer to it. Ontology searches for identical substances. Ontology, the substance or subject and objects. It searches for substances. Here, analogy searches for analogous operations. Because things are in operation. They are using information to trigger operations. And if you remember the earlier verses in the discussion, you will see the gist of the matter here. Why machines have existence. Now we are starting to tell why machines have existence. Simondon rejects the idea that machines are merely passive tools. He refuses completely. Machines evolve historically, internalize technical improvements, regulate themselves, exchange information, adapt to environments, participate in networks. They therefore undergo individuation. A modern robot is not merely assembled. Its functioning continually reorganizes relations among senses. The senses within it are organized, processes, software. Machines therefore process their own mode of existence, not biological existence, but technical existence. They have a technical existence. And that's a very important point to note there. Technical objects individuate, because this is the most important thing, that the technical objects individuate. Very, very important to get that concept right. For Simondon, technical evolution resembles biological evolution. Early machines are abstract. Later machines become increasingly concrete. For example, steam engines. Now you're starting to see things which came before. Electric motors, computers, networked AI, artificial intelligence, autonomous robots. Each generation integrates previously separate functions into coherent systems. This increasing concentration demonstrates technical individuation. Individuation is like growth of something. It is just like Hegel, the acquisition of consciousness. But Hegel dealt with that from subject-object premises, and he uses dialectics. But Simondon is looking at how an individual develops and becomes what he is before you can handle him as a subject-object thing. He's already developed. There has been a very complicated process of development for a human being to reach the acquisition of consciousness. So there is a feeling, like I tend to sense, and might be you agree with me, Simondon is feeling an empty space about being. Being is becoming. Being is not only acquisition of knowledge, consciousness, or just you are there and you start to exist. You're struggling to exist. That is Heideggerian. And then there is Edmund Husserl, and there are people like Molefi Santa in Afrocentrism. They are also addressed by Simondon, that we should start things from completely pre-individual and becoming a being. And this is what we are going through. And this allows us to include robots and machines, because the discussion becomes, do the machines undergo individuation? And if they do undergo individuation, then human beings, through transduction, go through individuation. Individuation and individualization is the act of becoming an individual. So the act of a machine becoming an understanding machine and helping us to serve us coffee like a robot in the house, or get me some coffee and it goes, gets you coffee. It has undergone individuation. That's another subject. It's going to get clearer as we go through. The trans-individual. Trans-individual is a very important concept in transduction. And transduction is like ontology, the theory of knowledge. Oh no, the theory of being, sorry. And the transduction is becoming of being. The trans-individual. Perhaps Simondon's most original contribution is the concept of trans-individual. Individuals never exist completely alone. Every person retains pre-individual potentials. These become actualized only through relations with others. Our perception is influenced by the milieu, the environment, and other people who we socialize with. And the trans-individuation or trans-individualization is all a concept of perception, emotion, passion, going onto you externally and influencing you psychologically. Also, this has the psyche side. We're going to get into that. And it is very important for you to keep that in mind. Every person retains pre-individual potentials. This becomes actualized only through relations with others. Thus, genuine individuality develops collectively, is a social affair. This disagrees with many other concepts. The collective is not merely a group. It is an ongoing process through which individuals continue individuating together. An interesting concept right there. Psyche and collective individuation. the psyche, because perception and emotions and anxiety and the way you react to your environment is also, as it helps a lot in development. You become a creature of your environment. And that's why you see Kwame Appiah, when he discusses racism, he takes racism completely from a different angle from W. Du Bois. The 21st century is a century of the color line. Kwame Appiah believes the way you perceive another person is not very much from the pigmentation of his skin. It's very much what your perception has been about that person and what you have read about him. The negative things leaders have said about people from the time immemorial, historically what people have said about others and are written in the books. They remain to influence future generations of people. And most of the things people have in their minds and they have read about are what makes them what they are and how they react. It's all individuation, the development of an individual. Thinking and being and information is what make us human beings. It's a deep concept, but we will understand it slowly. And it might be the final. Might be we're just discussing Gilbert Simondon as machines are concerned. We might find that we continue understanding machines and understanding ourselves. This concept doesn't create a new paradigm. But it's a very important concept to kind of go through so that we can look at machines and wonder, do they have existence if we can use transduction instead of ontology? The philosophy of transduction instead of the theory of being ontology. That's what we are trying just to look at. And sometimes it's getting a little bit sensitive. Just bear with me. Everything is in place. Those people who believe in a supreme being, this doesn't interfere with it. It just adds our knowledge. It's not a belief format. No. This is knowledge, academics. Can it take us ahead in science more than ontology? It's another area of philosophy. Simondon argues that psychological development cannot be separated from collective development. The psyche individual developed by participating in shared meanings, practices, technologies, institutions, and communities. Likewise, the collective development, the collective develops through the creative contributions of individuals. Neither exists independently. Ubuntu. You remember the theory Mandela kind of perpetuated, you are, so I am because you are. Individuation is very much that concept. We are a reflection of the collective, the social. Existence also by Martin Heidegger takes that into consideration. But already he doesn't go into what makes us individuals. What is the building blocks of us as individuals. It is not only existence, there's more to it than that. And this is what Simondon gets at. We don't develop independently. Each continually transforms the other. Hence, psychic individuation, collective individuation. This reciprocal process constitutes the trans-individual. Trans, in between you and the society. This space is trans-individual. It influences us a great deal. This time I'm just going not to digest so much. I'm going to reach 30 minutes and I'm going to wait a little bit. Machines participate in the trans-individual. In that act of trans-individual, the forming and the being of individual. Technology is not external to society. Machines mediate relationships between persons. Examples include language technologies, telephones. These things are affecting us. The internet, artificial intelligence, robotics, blockchain. Now the thing of their logarithmic law of value comes in here, blockchain. When you mine bitcoins, is a form of individuation, because that blockchain mining you're doing and the blockchain and the bitcoins you produce and nonce, you remember nonce and hash and the signature you get so that that bitcoin has a value. It is all a form of individuation and development. That operation is a process which develops and it betters itself through the passing and the improvement of information going into it. It's going to become clearer. Let me not confuse it so much. Machines, therefore, participate in collective individuation. They reshape communications. They reorganize knowledge. They alter perception. They influence institutions. Machines become participants in trans-individual becoming. They are part and parcel of the environment. So they have a great influence on our psyche. They have so much information which comes from them to us and make us what we are. So they become part of us. They are the collective aspect. The collective aspect I've been discussing about. Now we reach a very important point here, which I want every one of you to kind of concentrate a little bit. Affectivity and emotivity, emotion and effect, more than individual life. For Simondon, affectivity and emotivity are not merely private psychological feelings. They are the signs that the individual is not closed upon itself. They indicate an ongoing relation with unresolved pre-individual potentials and with the collective. Affectivity is the individual's sensitivity to tensions, incompatibilities, and possibilities for transformation. It is what allows an individual to be moved, challenged, or drawn toward new forms of individuation. Emotivity, from the word emotion, is the expression of these tensions in relations to others. Emotions are not simply internal states. They participate in creating shared realities and collective individuation. Emotions have so much of what forms us, what makes us what we are. This is why Simondon speaks of more than individual life. Every individual exceeds itself because it carries unrealized potential that can only be developed through relationships, technical mediation, and collective existence. That's the essence of what we're discussing here. We are trying to accommodate machines, but we must digest that accommodation. That everything before human beings starts to allow it to affect them and embrace it and kind of start to see this is mine, this is our own belief system, this is our culture. Philosophically, they have to digest it. And everything you see people doing, they philosophize about it. And it is very, very, everything. You look at human beings before they undertake to do something. Thus, affectivity connects the individual to its pre-individual reserve. Emotivity opens the individual towards the collective. The trans-individual is the field in which these potentials become actual. They become actual. Machines play a role in this process because they increasingly mediate affective and collective relations. Communication technologies, collaborative software, social networks, and artificial intelligence systems do not merely transmit information. They reorganize how individuals relate, create, and individuate together. And at that point, I'm going to stop. We are going to continue from here. This is your host, Dr. Gilbert Githere, saying ciao. And this is Mazungumzo. Until we meet next time, it's bye.